Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome to the Deceptilab, and welcome to my weekly live stream. Hopefully, the new and improved live stream. I had a lot of stuff I had to work on, just try to get the stream quality to where I felt more comfortable with it. So, like I was telling you guys in the chat earlier, I always chat those first 5 minutes. Let me know. For you guys that have been around for a while, if it looks improved. And yeah, so a couple of new things to talk about today. So last week I was about to go into a list of bots that I think will really be helpful for the meta, and I still need to go back in and make my videos for those because I was ranking them. Ranking those guys got really difficult over time, man. So but I do want to kind of talk about some of the bots that were on my list, so we'll talk about that. And I want to talk a little bit about Acid tonight, just because, obviously the meta is more towards Acid right now. And there's a couple of bots in particular I want to talk about, because there's this one particular argument that I keep seeing among players. And I want to kind of show you guys why I'm on a particular side of that argument. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But yeah, man, before we do any of that, let's go ahead and talk about the newsletter and this week's event. All right, and let me go in here and scroll this back up to the top. This week's event is called Among Us. Now, it's funny because when I saw that that was the event name, I said to myself, man, so I'm doing gaming content and the name of the event is Among Us. And so if you notice, when I did my title, I didn't write Among Us on the title. I didn't want to get a bunch of people that were going for that game to come to this channel and be disappointed. So what I did is I just left it as Transformers Earth Wars event stream, so the Transformers Earth Wars players will come and watch. But anyways, season 14 is week 2 of the saga. And so what I really love for the last couple of weeks is that Space 8 has been putting votes up in the Discord channel, allowing people to vote to see just how large the events are going to be. Obviously, week 1 last week was after the endurance event. A lot of people wanted to have something a little bit shorter. With this weekend, for those who celebrate, it's Easter weekend. And so a lot of people that said, hey man, let's just make something a little bit easier. As opposed to trying to do an Alliance Totalizer, and I had to explain to a lot of people, because I didn't want to have an Alliance Totalizer. And you look around and players are just like, oh man, I'm on vacation, and now it's midway through the day on Friday or Saturday when people are traveling and stuff like that. So I say, individual totalizer this week, totally cool with that. When you look at the event, it's saying that it's 20 prestiges, 1,000 points overall. So this is one of those, hey, when you look at it, this is one of those 10-point events, regardless of zone. A lot of people don't like these types of events. I don't really have a problem with it. 100 battles, easy peasy. Done with it probably by Saturday. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about the 10-point events? I know it's not everybody's favorite, but it's a change of pace, and honestly, you get a lot of those prizes all at one time. So I don't have a problem with it. You can see you get your premium shards. Let's see, 5,000 prime core shards, which I'm really excited about, because I was starting to get concerned, because we've been in playtest working on the new prime cores, and I still don't have all 5 of the first set of prime cores yet, and the one that I'm missing is the Liege Maximo core. So I was about to be really upset. But if I get through, I think I did the math earlier, and if I get through like 2/3 of this event, I'll get my Liege Maximo core, and then we can move on to the next set of cores. And I'm actually starting to really enjoy my prime cores. I'll actually show you how I got them set up here in a little bit. So 5,000 prime core shards, 2,500 4-stars, 7,500 3-stars, and then 25k of your premium crystal shards, along with that 20 million alloy, 20 million energon, and 150k spark and combiner, and hopefully that'll keep me from lagging out. And it looks like it's already working, so that's good. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. I want the 150k spark and combiner spark, and hopefully that'll be enough. Hopefully that'll be enough to get me where I need to go for combiner. As always, check out all of your official content creators, Engineer Horse, myself, Soldier, Sunstreak Kawaza, and we got a couple other really good creators unofficially in the chat. So, you know, Mercenary Terror, one of my moderators, is in the chat. Check out his channel, man. Dude, he's really taking off. He's like over 700 subscribers right now. Help him out, push him up and get him over that 1,000 mark, please. If you need to know where to find him, he's in the about section of my page, so you can go in there and check him out. I really like watching his content too. And Alpha Tryon 1 was asking about the internet. Now that was me. So for whatever reason, they tried to go. I left my Wi-Fi on, and they tried to go to Wi-Fi. Like, so, let me tell you guys. Actually, let me finish looking at the newsletter. I'll tell you what was going on, because dude, I went through a lot to try to get this thing to work properly. So, but yeah, we got some nice artwork as always in the community corner. And then for your bug fixes and improvements, we got so the big news is for Blades and Dirge. So we just got the G1s, we just got the ability 11s, right? And there's a lot of, even though playtesters had their piece, even though playtesters had their say on it, one of the things that players wanted, they wanted Dirge to allow for Dirge to have more damage. And so Space Ape said, look, we can give you the damage, we're going to take away some of the protection, or they're going to take away the protection that you're getting with that G1. So that's going to be an update in the content push tomorrow. So let me know how you feel about that. If you're a Blades or a Dirge fan, and Blades or Dirge user, what is it that you prefer to see? Do you want to have it do more damage, or do you want to see it have more protection? Let me know in the chat. So there's been some questions about ice. Apparently, with SG Goldbug, SG Shockwave, and people have been asking that, do they stun the MDS? So it's not like really a stun. It has the electrical symbol though on the tooltip. So Space Ape's gonna work on that and fix that. And then the offensive Onyx Prime Cool, that was not working properly. So, you know, wasn't triggering at 40%. And so that's going to be fixed as well. And I should be going through with the content push. And that pretty much is the news. Space Ape should be on their stream next week, next Thursday. And so I'm sure they got a lot of good stuff. Now that they only are on once a month, they basically just start telling you usually about what's going to be happening in the rest of the saga. So I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you guys put that on your calendar for next Thursday the 13th and check them out. And that's it for the news. All right, now actually let me go to the game screen. We can talk from there. So this is what we got. Let me take a look and see who is in the chat. And I see that Lord Avix, one of our regulars, was there first, along with Robert C4, who was in there second, another one of our regulars. So thank you guys for joining. Chris Harmon is in here as well. So yeah, we got a lot of the usual suspects in here. Alpha Tryon 1, Mercenary Terror, as I mentioned earlier. Let's see, Foxter Bum, another one of my moderators and good friends. Thanks for joining us today. And we actually were at war with each other the other day. That was actually a pretty fun war. So, you know, I learned a lot from you guys. You guys had some good bases over there on y'all squad too. So, really good to see you out here again. All right, so in answering my question that I was talking about earlier, Robert C4 says, I think they should buff the range of the bomb instead. I mean, they could do that. And I think that would definitely change the tempo a little bit, because people would be more likely to use their anti-hack build bots. And I think that can be a good thing. It actually reminded me of a topic that I wanted to talk about later on. So let me write that down real quick about the build bots. But yeah, that definitely could have been something, particularly for the ability 11. I think that would have been okay. But a lot of people just after that anti-hack build bot, and after they had a couple of nerfs and stuff for Dirge and Blades, a lot of people just stopped using them, to be honest, unless it's on defense. I still see a lot of people use them on defense, which has kind of been the bane of my existence lately. But as with all things, you find ways to work around it. And yeah, so all right, so let's see. So I said I was going to talk about my setup for some of my prime cores. And so what I'm working on this week is I'm working on the Megatronus core, and I moved it onto my shock tower. And the reason why I did that is because there's been a lot of talk in my family chats, and one of the things we've been talking about is if you stick Megatronus on certain defenses, they can be hacked. So, and then you start tearing up all your own stuff. And now one of the things that I look at, I'm gonna go to a base trial real quick. Right now I'm using my regular account, my live account, and for whatever reason I just crashed. So let me go back into the game. But one of the things that I've been having an issue with, I was using Megatronus in the choke points, and I was trying to just add on a little bit of extra fire damage as I go along. But then people will say, "Oh man, I got hacked, and I set half my base on fire," and I was just like, "All right, well, I don't want to do that." So what I started doing was putting it on an unshockable defense. All right, and that's my war team. We'll go up there. I'll just put it on hard battle. And what I want to look at more so, and I've looked at it before on the stream, I want to look at the ranges on Megatronus. And so when you look at that little halo that comes around here, not that one, but the one that kind of just pulses out, now you can see it's got some pretty good reach. So what I wanted to do was put it in that area, so when a bot comes up into this area, and I actually was, while I was waiting, but as these bots start walking in, I want them, you can see that my block is on fire. So that's one of the things that I was really looking at with that, in addition to not getting hacked. Chris Harmon still is talking about the Dirge question that I asked earlier, and he says that I wanted more damage on Dirge. Spenders want damage. No one uses reflective coding on War Team, and I gotta agree with you on that. Like, it's not common. I don't really see reflective coding out there that much. Period. And there are bots out there, air class bots particularly, that you can say, "Oh man, that bot's kind of squishy." But I mean, I use it for the hack ability more as a distraction when I use it, and then I'll be honest, I'm not so high on the damage aspect on it, but I did want to see the duration extended more. I wanted, and I was vocal about that in playtest. I wanted the duration to be long, and I wanted the damage from all these, because like when you look at, even like on my base, it's kind of clustered up in certain areas, and so the more damage that it's doing on your own base and while you're walking around freely, that's what I wanted to see more of. But I always felt like like there's always the fear in the back of the playtester's minds, and also, well, not really the playtest. I think the fear more on the part of Space Ape was that it could become overpowered again, and that's I think that's where the balancing point was. Another one of my regulars, LJ Gav, just jumped into the chat, so thanks for joining. And we were just going over some of my prime cores that I got. So I got Amalgamous Prime. That was the last one I got. So I go crack open some crystals and get some more cores so that I can fuse. But I'm really starting to fear the Amalgamous Prime core defensively. If you can get it in a spot where the bots are going to fall within that range, we can look at that range too on the base trial. And so whenever you're on a scout screen or a base, sorry about that. But yeah, same thing, the Amalgamous Prime Core. It's got decent range on it now. And that's more what I'm looking for, is to see if I can get any of those outposts to jump inside that range. Then they can get that additional attack speed and everything like that. Voxer Bomb says he uses Alchemist on the 5-star Dirge and never been disappointment. I've actually seen quite a few people have success with that. So yeah, I'm not arguing with that. My only problem is I really love Alchemist on Knockout, and it'll be hard for me to part with it. But other than that, like I'm not saying it is a good pairing. Let's see. LJ Gas says reflective coding. He get the Dirge and Cutthroat, assuming that there's no squad core. And Mercenary Terror had a request. So I didn't forget your request. I just don't have my test account to run your request. So when I do have my test account available, I will certainly run your request. But as of right now, so what happened was I actually had and while I'm talking to you guys, I'm gonna run a couple of battles of Titan Assault because I hadn't finished mine yet. But what happened was, so when I had my account re-imported like 2 weeks ago from my test account, and when I did that, I didn't realize that it was going to wipe out some things that it did. To include, like, I lost a lot of stuff, but I also lost like the account itself when it re-imported and when I tried to run it on BlueStacks. So like I actually got it on my phone, but I've been waiting for it to come back on BlueStacks. So but yeah, I won't forget about you. I'm actually gonna try to get that set today, because I did get like another code from Dale. I think I waited too long to put it in the BlueStacks. And so when I did that, it just said, nah, bro, you gotta go get another code. And it's like my third time asking him. I feel so bad because I was like, dude, he's already got a lot of stuff to do. You know what I'm talking about? And Dental Kid 93 just joined. Hey, thanks for joining. Chris Harmon says Onyx on Dirge is good. And yeah, I've actually used that one before too, and it actually does work well. But yeah, man, so also one of the things I was thinking about too is like, so here's what happened with my here's what happened. So the last couple of streams I had been working on trying to get the stream quality better, and it just I never had some of these issues before. It was always working fine. And I thought maybe it was when I started using BlueStacks, which I'm still using BlueStacks. Like LJ Gav is saying that BlueStacks works fine still, and it does. So it was never a BlueStacks issue. What happened was, so I did a speed test. Well, let me start from the beginning. So I was working on some of this some content, and then when it started getting laggy, I had some other content creators for help, and you know, I wound up talking to Sunstreak Kawaza, and then what he was saying was, he's like, well, what's your speed for your your upload speed? So I wound up doing my upload speed test, and it looked pretty good. So I didn't think it was an issue. But then I did it again, and I did it a couple of different ways. I did it with my Ethernet cable, which is what I usually use, but I was using it from an access point, and then it wound up being really, really low. So what I wound up doing is I wound up taking an extension cord. Now keep in mind, I live in a 3-story house, townhouse, and what I ended up doing was taking an extension cord, taking my Wi-Fi router all the way to the middle of the house, and running two 50-foot cords, one to my modem, and then the other one to my actual computer, which is on the first floor, just to try to get it to work. And I said, well, obviously I can't do that every time I want to stream. So what I wound up having is I had like a 50-foot flat Ethernet cable in the house. And what I wound up doing with it is I got 2 sliding glass doors, one on the second floor and one on the first floor. So I just dropped that out the sliding glass door because it's flat. And then I wound up running it to my computer. So that's what's actually improving the stream quality. So it was a lot of work. I was stressing out. And one of the things that I actually had a suggestion, it was suggested that I get a home plug. So I tried to order this home plug, and the home plug, it got lost in my Amazon order. So I was like, shoot, man, like I found one that I really, really liked, and it got lost. So I had to go yesterday, I had to go do a receipt, a return for it, because I was like, I never got it. And it cost me like $70. I want my $70, before I go buy another one. So I'm waiting on it. So that will be my long-term fix. But in the interim, all I got to do is just use that 50-foot flat Ethernet cable. Robert C4 said the T-Mobile 5G hotspot works well. So my wife actually had one of those. She doesn't have it anymore. But I was just trying to think of anything I could do, because like every time, like I was just having these wild Wi-Fi spikes. So I said, well, I'm just going to try to get it to be just straight Ethernet at all costs. So I didn't have a lot of the drops. Now the drops that you guys saw earlier, my computer had actually switched to Wi-Fi. So I just cut the Wi-Fi on the computer off during the live stream, and it seems to be holding up since then. Foster Bum said 3-story townhouse, nice to live in, but a pain in the butt to plumb. Yeah, that's a real thing, because like I have been having problems with that, and I have been having a lot of HVAC problems too. And so like my HVAC, everything for the upper floor, it's in the attic, and so that's been what's been biting me in the butt. But luckily I got like new AC units last summer. So now that it's starting to get warm where I live, that's not an issue anymore. But when I was having problems with it, I was like really having problems with it. In both seasons too, because the winter I had some issues, but we got those resolved well. I had to change a pump. But yeah. Sir Soundwave 1590 joined the chat. Thanks for coming. And now that I can actually have a live stream, now that everything's working properly, I can sit around here and talk to all of you guys. All right, cool. I think I'm gonna stop there for right now, because honestly, man, like I hate this mode. Like doing this mode is boring, man. Like I just now upgraded my Scorponaut to level 20 this week, because I just don't like doing Titan Assault mode, man. I don't. And so I was like way behind, and to the point I still haven't put them in my Titan spot. But I just want to figure out what kind of loadout that I want to use for them first, and play around with them a little bit more. I hadn't played around with them that much since playtest, to be honest. All right, so I want to look at a couple of bots, and so I'll start off with this because a lot of people were genuinely upset when Crankcase went into the 5-star batch. I mean, which, you know, a lot of people obviously weren't upset about it because he won the community vote. I think he's really, really good, man. Like, I honestly really like this dude a lot. I got him as a 4-star. He's not as well leveled as I want. I only got him at 55. I kind of stopped leveling him when I saw that the 5-star was coming out. But man, like, I really, really, really like this bot a lot, just because, like, the fact that you're getting your 100% speed boost when you know, I don't level a lot of bots until I'm actually ready to use them. That's why I left this one at level 1, because if I was going to use them, I put him at, you know, I put him at level 10 and he'd be at 100%. But he was one of my top 3 picks to go in there. Like, obviously, I told you guys, if you guys been watching me, my pick was Rodimus Unicronus Inferno. But Crankcase and Horse, I want to say I had him. Let me look, 'cause I actually wrote my list down of bots that I wanted, and I think that I had him third. I think I had him third as who I wanted in the 5-star batch. But I'm really excited for him to join the game whenever the 5-star batch is released. Right now, let me look and see what I got. I know I got one pull already, and I'm trying to look to see. Depending on when they release it, I might have a second pull ready to go, which kind of ticked me off because I was originally going for Quelagon, and I just stopped. But I had been back and forth about Acid Storm, and I wound up getting him. And so far, I've actually got him built up pretty well. So he's actually built up enough now that he's actually on my war team, if you guys didn't notice that earlier. So that's what I'm running on him right now. My goal to answer Chris Harmon's question earlier. So for a bot like that, when I'm looking at a support bot, I typically try to go use things that, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of value out of a lot of different power cores for him, for Crankcase, unless they come in and do like an ability 11 and G1 and stuff like that. So until then, I'm going to go back to Crankcase for a second. Until then, what I'm most likely to do, so I'm actually going to put him into a battle real quick, even this low level 4-star, so you can see what I'm talking about. Because what I was planning on doing is put him in the healer spot and then just getting this speed boost off of him. And I really got to remind myself to change this back because I am on my live account and I don't want to go use him, take him in the battle like that, because he's still not high enough level for me. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't get myself killed trying to go in the prime zone. Especially because he doesn't have the 100%. He's only got 10% speed boost right now. Alright, that's fair enough. So what I wanted to do, if I was going to use something, one thing that I wanted to look at is keep an eye on his range. His range is really short. I honestly expect when I go up here, he's probably gonna die like really, really shortly after I get onto the battlefield here, to be honest. But his range is so short that he's gonna end up way too close. So as far as combats go, I was thinking I was just gonna throw Crater Maker on him just to keep him keep his distance, try to keep him from from getting killed. But I think now with this new meta, I think one of the things that's worth looking at, and I probably messed that up because that hologram is gonna die. Pop another one out there. I can't see anything. I zoomed in a little bit too far. But yeah, like he got wiped out pretty easily. And one of the things that bothers me about him is he creeps up way too close. And that's one of the issues that I really don't like about Crankcase. So yeah, I'm gonna use like a crater maker on him. I feel like, you know, flat for you guys on the Autobot side. And then I'm going to, it depends. Like when I was testing them out, trying to get ready for when he comes out, I actually used Alpha Trion. However, I already got Alpha Trion on Acid Storm, so I might switch out his pool depending on what I decide to do with it. But that's how I plan on loading them out. And while I was in there running my mouth, Sunstreaker Waza actually joined us. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Box the Bum was responding to my earlier comment about 10-point events. He says not really a fan of them. Then it is what it is. I mean, I'm gonna play 100 battles regardless. I don't really care. I actually, and I've had some debates with other players about this before. It's polarizing because I feel like every time you go hit a battle, you're gonna win something or close to it, and that part I don't necessarily like. I just like it to just kind of just, you know, every so often I just go get some stuff. I get distracted every time I'm running a battle, particularly if I'm running a combiner or something, and I gotta stop and wait for those animations for that kind of stuff. So that kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. But I do like the 5,000 Prime Core shards this time. All right, Chris Harmon says, someone suggested being able to use one Titan for defense and one for attack without switching them. And I would love to see that happen, to be honest, because what's really irritating is like right now, I got Decepticon in there, and I would rather use him. And it depends on what I get. Like if you got certain bots up there and you want to go use capitalize on his active base effect, then, and I wanted to leave him on defense for that, then cool, I should be able to do that, and then still have the one I want on offense. Because, you know, honestly, I'll probably forget. You know, I'm getting old these days. So if you wanted to do more electrical stuff defensively, then you could, you know, leave you could leave your Fort Max, or you could leave your Scorponok in there. So that would really be a good quality of life change, I feel like. Robert C4 says he likes the 10 points, and he said he can just go use it. Just use the combiner and go get the points that way. And that's a good point, because you're getting the same amount of points no matter what. No matter what. All right, so let's see. So yeah, Crankcase was definitely on my list of bots that I wanted, and hopefully, because he's so squishy, hopefully he'll wind up getting like a nice boost. I mean, something modest, because a bot that is going to do that much healing and on himself and his allies, you can't make his strength but so high. All right, so let's see other bots that I really wouldn't mind seeing, and he actually wind up going pretty high in the polls this past go around. But I would have liked to have seen. Let's see, I passed him already, and I got him at low level. But I would have liked to have seen Spinister and Rotostorm. Not necessarily right now. What happened to? You know what? I don't think this thing's working right. Let me go. Because I think there's some bots that's missing when you go in there and use this feature sometimes. So I'm going to scroll down. But I'd like to have seen Spinister and Rotostorm. I think it would have been useful in the meta. Because you're already using combos. And so every time you destroy something, you wind up just doing more and more damage. But I get why a lot of people were upset about people making that pick, because to be honest with you, you have to time that really, really well. And I don't know if everybody has that level of patience to try to use that. And, you know, there have been a lot of upset people, I feel like, in that particular 5-star batch. I think he wound up being like 3rd in the vote or something like that. So I got a comment says, "Stop that, you ain't old. When you turn 100 years old, then you old." Nah, it's just like, I'm just making fun of myself. I was like, man, I start to forget stuff these days. That's why I write everything down, though. And that's why, like, even like my list of bots that I wrote down. But yeah, you know, so Spinister, you got up there as one I wanted to use, and I've really been using. I've been abusing Acid Storm, and I've been back and forth, you know, between the change that they did for Acid Storm. Like I said, let me take this crankcase out of here while I'm thinking about it, because right now I'm looking at my war team, and that's like, I know I'm gonna forget. So I go back to my healers and put Hook back in there for the time being, since I got a maxed out version. But what I want to do, let's see, what I wound up doing with Acid Storm. So I'll actually go into this debate, because I told you guys that there's an ongoing debate that I keep hearing from people, and I just, like, I hope it never changes, but a lot of people say that with Knockout, and I gotta go back out here. When they talk about Knockout's ability 11, there's a lot of folks that I've talked to that says they just leave it at ability 10 because they don't want that ability to change where it's a 5-second ability. You know, that's one of the changes that goes into that ability. My counter argument to that is this. So I've got this guy. If you guys didn't catch that, I've got him fully maxed out. The only thing I don't have maxed out on him is this combat bot, which I hopefully will have that squared away in a couple of weeks, right? So this is what he looks like fully maxed out. This is my live account. When you're using an AoE ability, and when you're using something that's doing damage over time, you ideally want that to be shorter. So if I got a 5-second ability here and it's doing 5,289 damage, acid damage points, then what I want to do is keep that short. So that damage, I don't want to spread that damage, 5,289 damage over 10 seconds. It's going to take longer. But the counter argument to that is this, and I do understand the counter argument, I just don't agree with it. The counter argument is, oh, well, Acid has anti-heal now, and so we want to anti-heal as long as we can. And so what I wind up doing is I said, well, don't take away that bot and make its damage take longer. Use another bot. Use another Acid bot. And so what I wound up doing is getting Acid Storm and using him is the anti-heal bot. And he costs less. He's 3+2. So if I'm working on my MDS, I'll actually show you some of my war attempts that I used today and how I tackled the MDS, because I'm already done with this war. And you'll see that that's why I just carried two. I just carried two of them in there. Knockout's my damage bot. Knockout's the one that's going to do all the additional damage towards the walls. Knockout's the one that's going to take away a lot of my outpost bots and get them off the battlefield quickly. Acid Storm is the one that I'm using to stop the healing for some of these bots. And it's really that simple to me. And now that you got, you know, you've got tanks out there, like you got like a lot of people like Headstrong now that you can use to try to use the anti-healing off of him. And now that he's got another buff recently, now he's really good. There's lots of different ways, just depending on your team build. Like, I don't see any excuse to go lengthen the ability 11 of Knockout. And if they ever actually do it, I might just stop playing. I love this bot that much, man. Where am I? Oh, there I am. I can keep scrolling past it a little bit too fast. And now I went right back out. But you know what? If all that's happening is the blue stacks is making me restart, I'll take that. After the last couple of weeks I had a live stream, and I'll take that. I'll just let it reboot. All right, let's see. Chris Harmon said he wanted Leozak or Spinister to be in that batch. And he also was also talking about Leozak. But yeah, so let's see. But I just kind of want to show how they work well together. This Acid Storm and Knockout. And hopefully I actually get a good replay, because I didn't check the replays before I did any of this. Kind of just did it on a whim. So I actually got 3 jets up here right now. I actually kept Blast off on my team. Until I get a better option to pick off build bots, that's what I'm gonna use. And so since I'm gonna throw Cutthroat Smoke down and protect my team a little bit, I actually took Cutthroat off my team about 2 weeks ago, and I put him back because I just kept getting in the kill zones and taking like a lot of damage. So I put him back. So now I got 3 jets on my team again. And that'll make that Cyber Pass, that'll make that really easy. That Cyber Pass quest. Mercenary Terror says he wanted Snapdragon because he loves Snapdragon, but he don't have Discord, so he couldn't vote. So yeah, that's that would have been a good one at some point. But yeah, one of the things, I ain't really do it on this particular base, I don't think. So let's see. Let me find one where I did. But that's how I've been actually tackling the MDS. I actually been using Acid Storm to do the healing, to stop the healing. Then I run Knockout because, you know, those two abilities are gonna combo together, and so I'm gonna get additional damage. So it kind of makes sense. And for me, because of how I feel about Knockout, I use Knockout with Fireline so that I can actually control his ability a little bit better. So in this particular case, I actually go in for the block walk again, and I let Computron just go ahead and do his thing. So he'll hack that hologram, and I just kind of let them walk up. It's not too much just targeting me up here on that front half, but you can clearly see you got both of those MDFs on the outside as you approach that kill zone. And so this is like a real good time to go use knockout with that 3 times damage towards the walls and try to get up to that spot faster. And this is what I'm talking about. I actually just use that Acid Storm ability, stop the healing, and then run my acid from knockout and just take those down really quickly so that I'm not as threatened inside the kill zone. Got a comment that says I will not get good sleep until Jaguars at it. And that's a good point though, Terry. He's like, so they still not gonna add him as part of Lyle Kaiser, so so you really just be getting just a bot. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. And that's really my reason of why I don't want them to use knockout. Why I don't want him to make his ability longer. I think he is, if he's not the top bot on my list for the current meta, he's really, really close. He was either first or second on my list, because I mean, he does everything that you need him to do in this new meta. He's got acid, so you got the anti-heal portion of that. But that's like the part to me. Every time I go test a bot, I'll tell you guys this. I always read the tooltip, and I read the tooltip a couple of times. And I say, okay, well, how would I use something like that? Before I even touch them, I just sit there and just study the tooltip. And so everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people, when we start talking about walls, usually what I've seen is people kind of lock in and fixate on, well, the walls. For example, when we're talking about singe and pinpoints, or when you're talking about like blowpipe, you're talking about bots like that, they say, oh man, well, he's going around walls, and we focus more on the walls. Now if it's something on the opposite side of the wall, he'll target the wall, and then he'll target whatever it is. But in this case, nobody really talks about the wall damage that much. And so when I see 3 times, and then I see 3 times against minions and outpost bots, well, I mean, honestly, the outpost bots are what make most bases difficult, honestly, because, from a strategizing standpoint, a lot of them are starting to look the same. They're using the same layouts. So, yeah. Chris Harmon asked me, do I have a 5-star star scream? No, I do not. I think we were having this conversation a couple of weeks ago because, I use Blast Off. And right now I'm just really using them. I was using them. It's my one-shot kill bot. Obviously that ship is sailed. Those days are over and done with, as the tech tree started to get involved. And it's really going to be gone, I feel like, when phase 2, because everything's going to get more of health increase defensively. But yeah, I use Blast Off, and right now I'm just really using them to pick off built bots until I get a different option. Let's see. So Fox the Bomb. Okay, so along with the same conversation about the walls, Fox the Bomb asks, are walls relevant unless you have a time trap base? So here's the thing. There are more players now that I'm starting to see go back more to it, because here's the thing. With HQ18, you're starting to get all of your defenses starting to get health increase. So I'm starting to see more people try to do some time trap bases. What caused the irrelevancy of walls, in my opinion, is layouts. Like when you look at the layout I got here, it's an open concept, because ultimately what happens, and you can actually see one of my defenses here, even though I think I lost that defense. Actually, I lost a second defense now. But when I was looking at Filigraver's defense, when he beat my base, you know, honestly, he just did a really, really good job. But you start to do certain things that you're trying to get to happen. And so usually when you see one of these V shapes like that, a lot of times if the person's not careful, the bots are going to split, which is the desired outcome. And, you know, you start to set little traps and everything like that for people using your walls. And to your point, yeah, bots have been walking around walls. But if you go into any kind of time trap, or even if you just try to go set like a small trap, and I'll show you in a minute, the really, really small trap that I've set with my base, this won me some battles. But that really, really small trap has been that right there near the HQ, I try to go get my MDS just in enough range so that while they're beating away at those walls, and while that team is split apart, that I can attack them right there during that vulnerable moment. Like I said, you're gonna win and you're gonna lose some battles on defense, but watch what happens to these guys right here. So because they came up there in the middle, they're gonna just start. And like I said, they did a real good job. They got a good team build and everything like that. But they're gonna split apart, and that's when they're gonna try to capitalize on that, because your goal should be for you to keep your team together at all costs. And see, this is what I'm talking about. So with the walls in this case, and even though they're kind of far back, but you kind of see how a couple of bots walked around the outside, but there's a couple of bots just sitting there in the front. So that's the desired effect that I'm going for. And I think as I increase my walls, and as I increase, as the second phase comes out, and I actually just switched my outpost bots around since then too, since seeing this replay. So we'll see how that goes as well. But that's kind of what I'm talking about with the walls. But to your point, if they go into time traps, then yeah, absolutely, then walls become more of a valuable resource. And yeah, Foster Bomb, yeah, I am using slowdown on mines. I need to change it because I had a different base design that I was using a little bit more heavily, and slowdown was actually helping me out a lot, but I think I'm going to take it off because this layout isn't well suited for it. But I also still, like I said earlier, need to go take a look at what loadouts I want to use for Scorponok as well. So that's why I hadn't moved it yet. So that's one thing I like about the Titans. You can customize them to whatever base you're using, but slowdown probably isn't appropriate for this base. And yeah, to answer your question, Robert, yeah, crystal gifting is in the game. It's been in the game for a little bit now. All right, so let's see. Trying to think if there's any other bots up there that I wanted to add to that list. I think I talked about most of them, honestly. But yeah. But anyway, guys, I think I am going to call it a night. Like I said, I think that the live stream is actually pretty much in good condition now. I said I still do want to go get my home plug, so I ain't got to run a 50-foot cord back and forth but yeah, other than that, I think the stream's in good order. So I'll see you guys next week's stream, and as always, I will see you guys out there on the battlefield. You know, you guys have a good night, have a good event, and if you celebrate, happy Easter to you, and I will see you next week. Freezy is out.